Sheikh, do I need wudu to recite or touch the Qur'an?
Alhamdulillah. The first thing we need to correct in this question is the word Qur'an. I know a lot of times we use the word Qur'an for this book. This is a mushaf. That is the proper term for the book. The Qur'an is what we recite. The mushaf is the book. Number two, there are only two acts of ibadah that you need wudu for. That is salah and tawaf around the Kaaba. Every other act of ibadah, it is mustahab to be in wudu, meaning it's recommended. I say again, there's only two acts of ibadah that it is wajib, obligatory for you to have wudu. As-salah and tawaf around the Kaaba. Alhamdulillah.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So as you just saw, there was a video where a sheikh or a scholar supposedly said that it is okay to touch the Qur'an without wudhu, right? Without the state of ablution, without purifying yourself, right? Now before I answer or refute this video, the first thing that I would like to say is look at where he's placing the Qur'an. He's putting the Qur'an on his feet. So from that very act that he's doing should be able to distinguish to you what type of scholar, what type of sheikh he is. He has no respect for the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Qur'an is the miracle of the Prophet, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And he's putting it on his feet. So that's the utter disrespect that he's showing. And in terms of the video, obviously in the comment sections as well, a lot of people are saying, yes, he's right. You don't need to have wudu in order to touch the Qur'an. So after obviously doing a little bit of research on this topic, I saw that. Now, obviously, we all understand that within Islam, there's Sunnis, there's Shias, right? So I'm going to answer it from both perspectives, so there's no bias involved. So from the Sunni perspective, we see that they say that it is not permissible to touch the Qur'an or the mushaf of the Qur'an without wudu, right? Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz has said that it is not permissible to touch the Qur'an without wudu, and this is the view of the four Imams of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat. Amr bin Hizam has also said that the Prophet wrote to the people of Yemen where he said, don't touch the words of the Qur'an unless you are pure, right? And it also states that you cannot touch the Qur'an in the state of janaba, or when a woman is during her monthly cycle, when she's having her menses and her periods. So if a woman during her monthly periods is not allowed to touch the Qur'an, and a man or woman in the state of impurity, meaning janaba, is not allowed to touch the Qur'an, that in itself should be able to answer to you that you cannot touch the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without making yourself pure first. And not just that, if that isn't enough, then let's just pick up the Qur'an in Surah Waqia, which is chapter 56 of the Qur'an, verse 79. What does it say? None can touch it except the purified. So if you look at the tafsirs of this verse, in itself it will tell you that to physically touch the words of the Qur'an, the mushaf of the Qur'an, without doing wudu and ablution first is not permissible. So this was the Ahl Sunnah perspective. Coming on to the Shia perspective, we look at a fatwa in the Tawzi al-Istiftah of Ayatollah Sistani, in which he states it is haram to touch the script of the Holy Qur'an with any part of one's body without wudu. So according to the Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat and their four Imams, and according to the Shias with the fatwa of Ayatollah Sistani, and according to the Qur'an in Surah Waqia, it's evident that you cannot touch the Qur'an without being in a state of wudu. Now this guy who's putting the same Qur'an on his feet is preaching and telling you that you can touch the Qur'an without being in a state of wudu. All we can say is we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides him